Alright, so hello. I've decided to make my video on communication disorders. Oh, sorry. Alright, I made my video on communication disorders. Communication disorders or disorders that impact somebody's ability to read, use language and speech to effectively speak or communicate with others. There are four types of communication disorders. One is child onset fluency disorder, which is stuttering, language disorder, speech sound disorder, and social communication disorder. So the types of disorders defined: stuttering or childhood onset fluency disorder is the repetition or prolongation of speech. People like that, they're more hesitant to speak because they feel like they're gonna stutter and then get made fun of. Language disorders or people that have difficulties understanding and using words in the correct way and in the correct context. They have reduced vocabulary. They have difficulties getting other people to understand them, so they probably won't talk as much. Next one is speech sound disorder. Those who suffer from this disorder, they have difficulties making certain sounds, or the sounds may be changed or distorted because they can't pronounce the words properly, and they usually substitute sounds for other sounds. And last one is social communication disorder, or also known as pragmatic. This doesn't really focus on the pronunciation or the sounds of the words, more so of how the person speaks socially or in a crowd. They have poor social communication skills. They could be very fluent in reading when they're by themselves or when they're with their friends. They could speak normally, but once they have to make like a presentation or something, they start getting nervous and then they don't use the right words. Uh, Yeah, they don't use the words properly. The symptoms of communication disorders are repetitives of sounds, misuse of words, and the inability to understand messages, and the inability to communicate in understandable ways. Next is the causes or etiology. Some causes, but that's not all of them, could be tumors and communications areas in the brain. There's traumatic brain injuries, parental substance abuse before birth. Basically, if the parents were doing drugs, alcohol before the kid was born, they were probably gonna get affected, well, impacted. And there's neurological disorders. Attention areas or the population or children between like ages, well, newly borns until 5 years old, or at high risk of communication disorders. Almost 6 million children are affected by communication disorders in the US. And for adults, it's 5 to 10% of the entire population may have been impacted by some sort or some form of communication disorder. Yeah, I think myself, I probably have been affected by probably social communication disorders because when I'm with my friends, I speak normally, but once I get like around adults or people, I have to make a presentation or something, I get nervous and start messing up my words. So probably. And treatments used or some include speech language therapy is probably a great option for people with communication disorders. Group therapy is also very good. And for children, the earlier the treatment starts, the better it is for them. And some treatments can include remedial techniques to build up the weaker skills. And that's it.